Good afternoon, everybody. It's been a while since you've heard from us, but we're back. And although we're amidst of a corona pandemic and it's very bad weather out today, I'm very excited because I'm going to get to talk to a very interesting person. Today's podcast will be featuring Mr. Peter Hartman. Peter Hartman has been working in the aviation industry for over 40 years with very interesting positions at KLM. Most recently, him being the COO and both CEO eventually of the company. Today, Mr. Hartman is involved in numerous initiatives, companies, in board of directors, board of executives, and as advisor. And we're going to talk to him. He's going to give us his view on innovation, aviation, the future, drones. Really looking forward, and I hope you enjoy this podcast. Okay, Mr. Hartman, very nice to speak to you. I'm looking forward to hear about your experiences. You were a senior in the aviation industry. You've seen it all, I think. But I would like to start out with maybe even a personal question. What are you most proud of achieving? This can be something in the business, but it can be also something personal in your life for our viewers to get to know you as a person.
Well, the most important and part I really proud of is knowing the world and knowing the people, meeting the people and understanding the people. I worked my whole life, of course, in a capital intensive, but also in a very people intensive environment. And for me, cultures and differences in cultures are key.
Okay, very interesting. And if I move from the part, still keeping to the maybe difference in your function as COO and CEO, but moving to innovation. Have you had an innovation that you actually initiated, where you actually changed something within company or innovated something? And did you do that from an operational point of view or from an executive point of view eventually? And why? Why would one of these two be better or be more appropriate?
Now I can give you two different examples. In operations, we started to work with plastics, and I can tell you it's not easy to explain to a sheet metal worker in engineering and maintenance that in the future he should work on plastic planes, as they called it.
No problem.
I switch it off.
Thank you.
And the another example was during the ash cloud. We, as you know, we were the first flying again back into the air.
Yeah, remember.
And then 2, 3, 4 months later, you got the claims from passengers. It were not real passengers. It were action teams and groups pushing in a no queue, no pay mode passengers to come up with their claims. And then we initiated, as one of the first airlines in the world, I think we were the first, social media. And I can tell you, I hardly had a clue what it was. But I had two excellent young people. One was from communication and the other they became later on the boss of digital. They explained to me what it was. And I said, as CEO, listen carefully, set it up, work it out. And don't listen to anybody else. If somebody is saying, yeah, we do not have a budget, or you need an approval, this, that, and the other. I said, come back to me. I bypass and overrule everything, because I think this is the way we should go. And it ended as being a great success.
Yeah, we all know what social media is now, of course.
Yeah, and we are still, and of course, we did a lot with biofuels and things like that. Being the number one for many, many, many years in the Dow Jones Sustainability Index, because that is my other conviction that I really believe if you are not working in a sustainable way, you can forget your future. And it is not an extra; it is absolutely part of the game, and it can also save lots of money.
Yeah, it's also one of the ideas that KLM actually pioneered, right? Sustainability in aviation.
Yeah, and everybody said you are crazy and it is so expensive.
Yeah.
And in those days, I must admit, I was very disappointed in the large oil companies, because they said, yeah, you are only 2 or 3% of my volume.
Yeah.
So innovating there doesn't bring sufficient money. And I had no support from governments pushing on them, and you see the discussions nowadays.
Completely switched.
I wish we had done it in those days, but so we had to set up our own factories and our own organizations in order to get biofuel.
Yeah.
And that is in fact a shame that it took so long.
Yeah.
And of course, it costs a little bit more, but so what? Then you should increase the price of the ticket.
Yeah, the whole world has switched to sustainable flight as a focus point. So I guess it was right. It was the right course to do. Only as we see, innovation takes time, a lot of time sometimes.
Yeah, but that also has to do, in my opinion, with too easy and too short-term oriented people, not only in governments but also in other companies. And there I feel that it is sometimes a pity that we were only driven by margins and money. Yeah. And what you see now is also because of Corona that we are rethinking our models. Also, how we want to see a society working.
Yeah. So still on the note of innovation, one of the things is it takes long, but of course, not all innovation is successful. One of the more tougher questions I would like to ask you: have you also had an innovation that you tried to bring in or that you supported, but that did not work? I mean, this is also worth. What did you learn from this, if there is such a situation?
I can tell you one of the failures. I just want to show you this one.
Can I see it? Okay.
SpaceX, that was the expedition on Curacao, where we wanted to bring this spaceship. And I strongly believed in it. And most likely you know that we even sold tickets. They came to me. Everybody said, you are crazy. But I liked it very much to have that innovation on an island, our island, Curacao. Yeah. Because that would have been great for all these youngsters there. It will bring a new kick. And I strongly believe if you do not initiate or support things like that, what's then the future for the youngsters?
Yeah, fully. Very good thought, I think. I think innovation is about daring and driving. And of course, there are hits and misses. But if you don't have the misses, you're never going to have the hits. And you have to dare to try to innovate.
I hate people coming in a meeting telling me what's difficult. I always said, please stop it. Come back with solutions and not with problems, because I pay you for solving the problems I can't solve. Yeah, I like the thought a lot. Is this also the message you would like to convey to aviation in innovation today, or innovation in aviation today? So is it there? You have to dare to innovate? I think innovation dares to innovate, but as we all know, airlines, before Corona, again pre-Corona, margins are minor. Yeah, the OEMs and airports, they make the margins. But talking about innovation, there is hardly any innovation on airport concepts. If you see how they handle an aircraft with gates and a pier, etc., well, it's comparable to 50, 60 years ago. Yeah, it's an airport. But what type of innovations do you see there, except for the handling? Yeah, so the innovation was in the development of the plane, and fast in the air, from a propeller plane to the prop jets, with the turbine engines, and then to the jets. You have seen it, and the efficiencies from a narrow body, a small plane, and then you got the 747. That brought the cost down. But look at the airports.
Still standing.
Still standing on the old principles. Yeah. And hardly any innovation.
A follow-up question on that. So you see now these organizations, whether they're airlines or airports, they usually have some sort of innovation lab or innovation team working on developing, because the traditional way of thinking, like volume and just pump it up, it's not there anymore, because you have to innovate to thrive. Do you think this should be more of an inside job in the aviation? So should industries like an airport, like an airline, do this themselves, or should they be looking to partner up with externals like startups and enable them to do it? What is your thought on that? Who is responsible for taking the lead to innovate an industry?
Of course, the startups, but to finance it and to give them an opportunity to test it should be the airlines and the airports, etc. And I had one very good example, that was Paul Riemens in the LVNL, because he was also thinking in the cluster, because he understood that together we can be strong. We had three pillars: the airport, the airline, and the air traffic control. But that also means globally. And if you could save money in one of these pillars, it is good for the customer at the end of the line. And we should not argue about who is the passenger my customer? Is it the airport customer? Is it the LVNL customer? Come on. At the end of the day, it's one customer, and we have to work together in a kind of an combined but also coordinated framework. And this framework, that is important, should be set by authorities. Mm-hmm. And that was already Plesman, connecting people. That was his slogan. And that is exactly what happened.
It's nice to see that. Indeed, I think the ecosystem should be complete, and then the startups can take the lead in innovating and enabling a better future. So this is important, set up the ecosystem. Yeah. Moving further to now we know what's needed to have innovation. So let's move into the drone zone where Mainblitz is active. Currently, we're in a COVID-19 crisis. Do you think, is there a post-COVID-19, is there a world for new technologies such as drones that will help recover the industry? I mean, I personally believe this. I already discussed this also with Paul Riemens. What is your view on that? Well, how will new technologies help the aviation recover from this again? And how will drones, in that particular sense, maybe help?
I think it is an absolute necessity, because on the moment that I say aircrafts, I include helicopters. Yes. If you see the possibilities we have now with drones, it's tremendous. And I must say, if I see these developments, it makes me so happy that this is going to work. Of course, you need a very strong 5G network.
Yeah.
And if you have that, the possibilities are great.
Do you think that the aviation industry, airlines, MROs, lessors, cargos, already see the value or understand the value of drone inspections? Or is that something that...
No, I'm convinced, yes, because, of course, I'm involved partly via you. But I also have seen it before. And if I see the quality of the drone nowadays, it's not comparable to 5 or 10 years ago.
Not at all.
You see it flying around a plane with an algorithm and checking the plane, knowing this is a 737 or this is a 777 or this is a 747. It's wonderful, because I know how much money it costs and how much time to dock a plane just to do a lightning strike check. Yeah. And if the weather circumstances permits, it is even possible to do it outside. That means you do not have to tow the plane to the hangar, etc., etc. It saves so much time and money. So I strongly believe it. And we still have many lightning strikes in aviation nowadays.
Yeah. A lot of regular checks as well. I think for any visual check, you can deploy the drone as a very reliable system to check your status.
On corrosion, on the quality of the paint.
Yes, indeed.
And any other things. So I think there the drones have already proven their importance.
Apart from the current COVID-19 situation, what do you think are the biggest barriers of this drone technology moving really rapidly to help the aviation? Is there a barrier, or is it just... I mean, drones have been active in the aviation for about 5-6 years now. It's starting really to ramp up. Is there still a barrier, or are we just at the dawn of drones being used multiply in the aviation industry?
No, I still believe there is a barrier. First of all, many people see the drones in the perspective of bringing pizzas or little packages or delivery in the consumer markets. And then they say, well, they're very noisy. And that's true. They are very noisy. And we do not want to have that in urban areas. Yeah. On the other hand, we also need authorities, that we get an harmonization.
Yeah, alignment.
I was very happy with the statements we heard on the drone week we had in the RAI, and we had 2 weeks last year and the year before.
The Amsterdam Drone Week,
where also the commissioner from Brussels promised a lot. I do not know exactly how far it is now, but if you do not have that European framework where they support your activities and create a level playing field where you can also fly cross-border, and that they don't make your life in the Netherlands more or less difficult than in Belgium or in France or in Germany, well, that would be a great thing if they could harmonize. That means we need that alignment. And she was very positive, but Corona came, and
it's been delayed a little bit due to Corona, indeed. But actually, it's more relevant than ever, because at the end of this year, the new EASA regulation will come into effect, creating indeed a level playing field for drones throughout Europe, both for the consumers as for the industrial market, and also making it possible for industrial drone applications such as aircraft inspections by main blades to be actually operated in a CTR, so in a controlled traffic region, an airport. So
that is, I was always very happy, and I know him already for many, many years, with Peter Key and also his contributions to the Drone Week and the EASA frameworks. Yes, that is.
It's coming. I think Europe is leading in that way. EASA is leading that way, and that's great to see, because I think that's one of the biggest barriers, and that's about to change. And I think that's the combination of the COVID pandemic being solved, and then enabling drones to fly by authorities, and these regulations will actually provide us the room there is to grow in the next year. Maybe a last question: if you would change something, or if you would recommend something in the aviation industry for tomorrow, or if you would like to see something change tomorrow, what would that be from your point of view? You have had a lot of experience. You're still working very much on innovating, on pushing technology further. What would you very much like to see from tomorrow, or hypothetically tomorrow, changing in aviation?
More and more alignment. That is what I have seen in all these years, and don't see always other areas as enemies. Try to cooperate, try to align, and try to develop. And of course, we have the global alliances, and that means more airlines working together. And also realize that we are operating out of the Netherlands in a very small market still. Yeah. But innovative, KLM is still the oldest airline, and I hope they keep that position also post Corona. But that is only possible, and was only possible, and that was the vision of Plesman, that he started to work together with foreign carriers far away. And that had, of course, to do with our former colonies. Yeah. But he was focusing on the long haul. That's also what I did in KLM when I was the CEO. Focus on the long haul, and the short haul feeding and the short haul flying was a different sport, I would say.
I think that's a very nice note to end. So cooperation and alignment is a key to success in the aviation, in the future of aviation, and also incorporating new technology. Thank you very much for your time and your contributions. I'd love to talk to you again.
Okay.
And, I hope we'll talk soon again.
And good luck. And we hope that we are going back soon and see each other live again.
Thank you as well.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.